Oh, hi, how are you? H. Victoria Hargro Atkinson again. Um, I would like to continue sharing with you Stones Along the Path, which is my first published book. And I think I told you that my brother did the cover of the story, and he's a very talented artist. I wish he could paint for the rest of his life, like do nothing but paint, because that's your talent, God-given talent. Um, this book is wonderful because I've never been to Africa, but through the pages of research, encyclopedias, watching videos, talking to people, I visited the country. So all of this information in this book was gleaned from the research that I did. And I think you're going to really enjoy this book. Not only is it about Africa, it's about family structure, family values, and different cultures. So we're contrasting the African culture with the Afro-American culture. So I think you're going to love it. So I'm going to start reading from it because I want a little time to chat afterwards. Okay, we're going to do chapter 1. Okay. In Jessica's words, this is we were getting these memoirs from two different people, Jessica and her son. So in Jessica's words, all the complications in my life and in my children's lives began on the incredible continent of Africa, the mother country, the birthplace of civilization and the written word. Africa, the world's second largest continent, was overwhelming to me from the air when I, Jessica Hamilton, flew over it back in 1974. I felt both intimidated and mesmerized by the sheer size of it. It possessed the world's longest river, the world's largest desert, and residing there are the world's largest animals. Africa was a lifetime away from everything I knew and loved in America, but it did not deter me from craving and needing to experience its beauty and majesty. While working in Africa as a Peace Corps volunteer, I wanted to create a space where I could serve my people and learn about our lost history, which slavery with its brutality and oppression and years of injustice interrupted. The slavers and kidnappers forced my ancestors to leave homelands in Africa centuries before I arrived, interrupting their lives, traditions, dreams, history, and their language. All my life I wanted to see and experience Africa, to see, hear, smell, and touch what they had lost centuries ago. While working to make life better for many of Africa's poor, my sincere hope was that their lives would be better because they met and shared a portion of their lives with me as I gleaned from them what I needed to make me strong. Wide-eyed and filled with wonder, I was green with pride, excitement, and naivete about my decision to join the Peace Corps in Africa and what was ahead. It was the ultimate manifestation of dreams and vision, and inspired by ancient stories told of the magnificence of Africa and its colorful people. Africa, I thought, would complete my search for my true destiny, which always involved helping people. There was no way I could have predicted that my destiny included arriving home from Africa and the Peace Corps 4 years later with a child in my arms, completely ashamed and an embarrassment to my loving family. My oldest son, Dexter, was born in Mnimbia Memorial Hospital in Nakara Aziza, a small country located in the majestic mountains of East Africa. The first time I laid eyes on my infant son and held him lovingly in my arms, he seemed immediately aware that I was his mother. With the most wonderful and curious eyes on any human, he began surveying and assessing his new environment, appearing acutely aware of everything and everyone. The attentive, Hospital nurses commented on how strong he was, and they all laughed hysterically when the 1-day-old infant raised his beautiful head to look around the room. Newborn babies are not supposed to do that, one of the nurses commented. They're not supposed to be able to see either, but I swear to God, this one is looking all around the room. Look at him, another nurse said, laughing. That was the moment that it became instantly clear that he was going to be a challenge to monitor and raise. He was beautiful and too alert for his own good. It was no ordinary situation for a young black American to give birth to a child in a foreign country without the benefits of our family. Heartbroken and angry, I gave birth knowing that I would abandon my child's father as soon as my legs were strong enough to carry me. I wanted to be out of Africa and away from the man who betrayed me, and away from the deepest and the most passionate love I ever experienced or imagined. As soon as my body was able, I was going home to America, no matter what. The day my son was born was the first time I felt truly happy in many months. His birth made the nightmare surrounding our lives before his delivery temporarily disappear. Holding him close to my body and inspecting every blessed finger and toe, the bond between us was sealed. We belonged together, and I was going to make certain that he felt love for the rest of his precious life. The nurses gathered around their awe-inspiring child and me, enjoying the funny, alert infant interact, commenting on how wonderfully alert he was in comparison to all the other children they cared for in the nursery. They laughed again with me when he moved his mouth as if he had something important to say. The door opened. The door to my hospital room opened, and my child's father entered the room with a dazzling smile on his handsome dark brown face, holding a huge bouquet of exotic flowers in his arms. The mood in the room turned icy when the nurses noticed the abrupt change in my mood and demeanor. They greeted him politely and made a quick exit. With deep affection showing in his brilliant eyes, he tried to kiss me on the lips, but I turned my head to avoid contact with him. When he reached for his son, I refused to allow him to hold him. Then, seeing the heartbreak in his eyes, I slowly released the child to his outstretched arms. It was obvious that he was terribly hurt when I hesitated, but I could not help myself of what I was feeling. Taking the baby from me and sitting in the comfortable chair beside my bed, he reached for my hand and was disappointed when I withheld it without any remorse. "Everything is going to be fine, Jessica," he said, trying to bring peace and harmony into the room. He knew from my expression that I did not believe one word he uttered, and he knew that his presence revolted me as he said, "Chumachienda told me that you were in pain for the last few days. Darling, you should have called me sooner. I could have helped you. I wanted to be by your side. You know that," he said lovingly. Studying the elegantly dressed and extremely masculine man that I gave my heart to, I could only wonder what kind of man would place the woman he purports to love in such a humiliating position. With a dazzling smile on his handsome face, he looked at me in gratitude for giving him the son he always prayed for and needed. "I love you so much, Jessica, and I thank you for the wonderful son. He is amazingly strong and healthy." In disgust, I looked at him and felt an unusual calmness which protected me from his undeniable charm and magnetism. "You must always believe in our marriage. We will work everything out when you return home." Revolted by his suggestion, I turned my head in the opposite direction. "Darling, our love is strong. We are a family. Everything is going to be fine. You will see," he said, smiling handsomely as he cuddled our son in his arms. Rather than continue to listen to his insane predictions, I decided to inform him of a decision I made for my son and myself. Taking a deep breath of air, I said, I love you, Akinyele, but as soon as I am able to walk, I am going to leave your fucking lying black ass. Despite the deep love I still felt for him, I knew that my future would entail a life without the deep passion and joy we shared over the last year of my life. I was certain that as soon as my son and I could travel, we would leave Africa, my lover, and our ridiculous life that I mistakenly assumed would be eternally mine and filled with a lifetime of his amazing love. Can you imagine all of that? It's amazing. It's really amazing. Um, Love is complicated. And this story, it is very complicated. I had a great experience. I have to tell you before my time is up. I was at church one Sunday setting up for a banquet, and I overheard two of my friends talking. They were talking about this couple that was having so many problems, and the lady was crazy, the man was crazy, and they just thought the whole situation was absurd. So I'm listening, thinking, eavesdropping really. In churches, everybody gossips and eavesdrops. But anyway, they're talking about this couple that's having so many problems. I'm trying to figure out who in the church had this profile, who was having all these problems, and I couldn't figure it out. And they kept going and they kept going and talking about this couple, and they were just so animated. I'm like, finally getting up the nerve. I go over there and say, who are you guys talking about? Who is this? And they looked at me like, we're talking about Akinyele and Jessica. And I was like, what? I couldn't believe it. They were talking about characters in the book, and I was like, they were like, well, it's a great book. We love the book. The book is so wonderful. It's great. And they just kept talking and talking. And I thought, now, that's great, because that means I made those people real for those two women. I made them come alive. So I think that in itself is the goal of a writer, to make a world where the reader can live and the reader can become a part of the lives of the characters in the story. If they can relate to that, I think that's really fabulous. But I felt so silly, like I just looking at these women so into talking about these two characters. It was just amazing. And the goal when you write, I think, is to achieve that. So keep that in mind when you writers, when you are telling a story. Try to make it personal, and also try to bring out the humanity in each one of your characters. I think it's just a wonderful vehicle to communicate and to create a world that doesn't even exist for people. It's just great. It's just great. Well, I've enjoyed our time, and I thank you for listening in. And next time, I think we'll do some questions. I did get a couple of emails, so we will get to those next time. And thank you so much for taking a minute out of your day to listen. You can contact me through www.hvictoriahargro@kirsten.com, or you can go get my books on Kindle on Amazon.com or Barnes & Noble. So love to you, love to your family, and enjoy. Love and blessings always.